Hello and welcome to Day 95. I'm Richard Cason, alcoholic, your host. And welcome to today's episode, The Low Train. All aboard. I tell you, today just has been something else. The last few days have been pretty good. Made it past 90 days and thought, that was a good milestone to make, and it was. Today I just think I've just I don't know, it just like anything or everything bothered me. I don't know. I don't know. Clothes not being washed, the dishes not being put up, goofy stuff that ordinarily wouldn't have bothered me at all. I mean, they were clean. So the clothes were clean, but they had been left in overnight, so I had to wash them again. Anyway, not getting into all of that. Just the lowness. 90 days. Did go back to work for a brief period of time. I think I hit on that and got laid off, and so back not at work. Truck's still not working. A lot of things going on that just got me in a low spot today. Got me down. And did I think about drinking? Sure. Excuse me. I, of course, did. Not, but I think more of the thought become the consequences. Really, it was like, so you do drink. Well, what about everything else you're going to have to deal with because you did that? The problems that you don't have right now, but you're going to, because you're going to have an unhappy wife, an unhappy family. And even though you're not doing it necessarily per se, staying sober for them, you are in a way, because that's giving them some things that they definitely deserve. So just a lot of consequences that people that trusted in you, people that were very happy that you had made your way to 90 days, that you're continuing on staying sober. Yeah, I need a haircut. The camera's backwards. Anyway, things of this nature. I realize that a lot of consequences come now, and probably did then. I just didn't notice it by taking a drink. So drinking really didn't become an option for very long. And like I say, I mean, I knew that it wouldn't cure anything. It wasn't going to make any of this go away. It wasn't going to fix any of it. Temporarily, you might have felt a different feeling. I don't think at this point for me. I think the guilt would set in so hard that the drinking wouldn't even be enjoyed. Although I still, as crazy as this may sound, can acquire a taste for it. I can have a thought of it. Can even somewhat think of an action, but as far as actually going through the action, I just can't see myself doing it at this point. Um, it's just the way it is. Um, I know that everything I've gone through, please excuse me, I've got still a little bit of sinuses, and maybe I can edit this out once I learn how to make a movie editor. But I understand that a lot of the consequences that come through all this, um, are tough. And the decision to stop drinking is very tough. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you do it? How do you continue every day not taking that drink? Especially basically in my position, where things haven't, even in 90 days, really gone. Let's say they haven't been bad, but they haven't been, what. And I don't want to say this in a bad way, because certain people may see this and go, "Oh, well, me being happy for you is not rewarding." That's not what I mean. Getting back to work rewarding. Having my transportation working. Certain material things that you were able to do back before you quit drinking, you were able to obtain and keep, and things were working that you don't have now, becomes a little, I don't know, for lack of a better word, it's just a downer. It's kind of like, but I did all this. I quit drinking. I'm trying to do the better things. I'm trying to become a better person, making amends when I can, doing the right things, saying the right things, being honest with myself, being honest with others. I'm working at this. I'm doing it. So, where are the rewards? Well, there are a ton of rewards that I overlook because I'm looking for specific rewards. I feel like I'm looking for specific tokens that I should get back because I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's not the way this works. Will I get those back? Honestly, yes, I think I will. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. Would be the same no matter if I was drinking or I wasn't. It's just that you sometimes, or I sometimes, feel entitled to things that necessarily you aren't entitled to. Some that know me will know that, all of my life I've kind of been entitled to things, and that's probably how I ended up in the predicament I was in. But, certain things you think you should be getting back or you should be getting, and it doesn't happen, and that can be a setback in itself. Or it has been to me. I mean, it drove me to the thought. The thought can always lead you to the relapse. The relapse will always let me try that again. The relapse will always lead you back to the drink. Um, that said, I went to a function the other night that a guy was at, and he was anti 12-step program, and wasn't ugly about it or anything. Just didn't really believe in it, didn't like it, and I certainly understand that and can appreciate that. I don't think that there's certainly only one way to recovery. I think there are ways that work, and there are ways that are proven that do work better than others. And I listened to his story, and I heard what he had to say, and I understand. One of the comments he made that really stuck with me was he said, I don't want to hear those sad stories. Those sad stories, I just wish they wouldn't tell them. And I thought about that briefly, and I thought, you not wanting to hear them, imagine having to tell them and them being true. The pain that come with those stories. Understand this isn't just a story. This isn't a fiction book. This was real life. This is what happened to this person. And if you have trouble hearing them tell their story, imagine having to live that story. And luckily, as I've gone along, I haven't had those necessarily horrific stories to tell. I certainly know that by going back out, I certainly could and would. I think there are many different options to recovery and to not drinking. I do think that the 12-step programs have a way that have shown great results. Are they for everybody? I would say they really are. I think it's probably a more mental choice than anything else. I mean, are you willing to do that? And I'm not really going to go into that any further. I'm not, neither for nor against any kind of program. I just see a lot of people doing them, and they seem to be doing well, and it seems to work for them. I had a good friend who has passed away now, but did a 12-step program and did real well with it. I think he was probably, if he wasn't 50 years sober, I would say he was close to it when he passed. So, I mean, there has to be some merit in there. I've seen, people at 30 and 40 years sobriety doing these programs, and so there has to be some merit there. I've taken a look at other programs as well during my journey so far, and there are some active sobriety in those as well. So there are ways to go about it. I do definitely say a program is a better way. And one of the things I like about going to different meetings and going to different programs is hearing those stories, be them good or bad. Being able to think back on that, especially in my time of weakness or need, I think back and can see where I might relate to what they were saying, and not make the choice if there was a relapse story or a story where they went back to using. I can see where myself, I didn't make that choice, because there are times that you think, well, what's it all about? What's it all worth? And you would think, strange as it seems to me, that at past 90 days that I would even think that way anymore. I know that still 90 days is a very short period of time, but being the addict, being the user, you think of 90 days as a lot longer time, or I think of 90 days as a lot longer time than, say, someone who is not doing this recovery. So, you know, I would have thought that a lot of this would be different. I think some of it will remain the rest of my life, and I'm willing to accept that. Looking at it from that perspective, I still feel like I've got a hold of things, but you definitely have to be strong. And if there is a time of weakness, picking up a phone doesn't make you weak. Talking to a friend, be in a program or not in a program, speaking to somebody, letting them know what you're thinking. Maybe they don't have the answers, but they're certainly willing to listen. I'm sure you have friends like that. If you don't, and you're in a program, I know you've got friends like that, because they're out there, they're willing to help, they're willing to listen to what you've got to say, um, and maybe make some suggestions. Because times do get tough, life gets tough. Even if you didn't have an addiction, how cool would it be just dealing with life stuff? Don't even take in using, don't even take in drinking. Uh, just think about life in general, and when things happen, the passing of a loved one, financial troubles, you always want somebody there to talk to. So, you know, a support group is not necessarily just for someone who has an addiction problem, is what I find. And I find that, you know, sometimes it's always good to hear an outside source. Not that family's not good, family is great, but sometimes family members will tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes family members won't say the right things. Sometimes people that aren't family members won't say the right things, but that's neither here nor there.